Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greetings ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tuan0739 Nor Aiman Fidaus bin Azman, a final year student from Language Center at the National Defence University of Malaysia. So I'm just finished my industrial training period. I would like to present to you about all of the experiences I gained during my internships. As you can see here, there's the logo of Intan beside UPNM logo. I will explain more about that organization in the next slides later. So there are two important individuals that have been monitored and guide me during my internship. The language center supervisor is the Lieutenant Colonel Associate Professor Dr. Surajit Singh, and for the industrial training supervisor is the Encik Muhammad Ikhwan Al Shahid bin Abdullah Tahir. He one of the training consultant and also the leader in administering and managing the Malay Language Excellency Unit. I will explain more about it later. Okay, so let's take a look for the first slide here. Is what and why students must undergo industrial training. What is the purpose? What is the goals? And why is it so important? So, industrial training is a learning process that every student in public university must go through. Each student must meet the requirement before qualifying to take this subject and subsequently be accredited as bachelor's degree student. This industrial training provides students with exposure to the realities of the world that they will face after study. This is very important to prevent students from giving reason for their unwillingness to face the real situations in the future. So a student needs to be placed in any organization approved by the university or faculty to place them to undergo industrial training, regardless of whether in ministry, departments, government agencies, or the private sector. So the objective to be achieved is to provide adequate exposure to students about the initial picture of the work culture. Besides, it is to provide valuable experience as well as gain knowledge and develop new skills in order to form students into a person who is capable in many things. In addition, professional ethics while working is also a priority that should be given to every student. The Language Center has determined that the industrial training period that must be fulfilled by each student is for 16 weeks starting 14th of March 2022 until 8th of July 2022. So for the next slide is what organization I chose to do my industrial training. So as you can see here is the Intan logo. Intan is the National Institute of Public Administration. It is one of the training center under the Public Service Department Malaysia. In Malay, we call it as Institut Tadbiran Awam Negara. So that's why the acronym is Intan. So it is a public sector learning institution that excels in developing competent public sector human capital. It is also provide the latest teaching and learning methods in accordance with the needs of the current situation through the implementations of courses, seminars, workshops, and online courses. So I'm gonna go fast here. So as you can see, this is the top management of Intan. Okay, next. Okay, this is the organizational chart of Intan. As you can see here, Intan has a division of tasks in 3 different branches. To ensure that the level of administration and management runs smoothly. The 3 divisions are corporate and international units, registrar's office, as well as clusters under the supervisions of senior deputy director. Also, if you can see the right side, at the right side, Intan has the 6 regional campuses, which also conduct courses to meet the demand in the surrounding areas. The campuses are located at Sungai Petani Kedah, Intura, Institut Tadbiran Awam Negara Wilayah Utara, and also we have Intim, Institut Wilayah Timur, Terengganu. We have Ikwas, Wilayah Selatan at Johor. We have Intengah, Wilayah Tengah at Petaling Jaya. We have Insabah, and also we have Insara at Sarawak. So I underwent industrial training at the Intan Intengah campus. This campus is specially built to accommodate only 2 clusters, namely the innovation cluster and the cluster for language excellence. I have been given the opportunity to undergo industrial training in the Malay Language Excellency Unit under the administrations of the cluster for language excellence for 16 weeks in total. So here is the organization chart for cluster for language excellence. This cluster consists 5 different subunits, which are English Language Delivery and Development Unit, Second is the English Language Assessment and Empowerment Unit. Next is the English Leadership Development Assessment Unit. We also have the Chinese Language Training Development and Delivery Unit. And the last one is the Malay Language Excellency Unit. So what is the cluster for language excellence do? What are they can offer for us? So they have the responsibility to improve language skills and competency among civil servants to ensure that they remain competitive. They have a role in developing training modules and programs as well as conducting assessment for various schemes and grades of services. They are also a leader in superior public sector language training and assessment. Okay, so here is the Malay Language Excellence Unit. I said it already that I undergo my internship under this unit. So firstly, they have a responsibility to implement a Munshin Muda Bahasa development course. They also implement other courses related to the national language inside and outside Intan. And they act as a reference center in general regarding the writing of official government documents at the public service level. They are also coordinate the national language cultivating agenda collaboration with external parties, especially Dewan Bahasa and Pustaka. So next is the students' duties and tasks. These are the list of tasks that have been stated on the paper that they gave me on my first day at Intan. And yes, I did all of them, managing the implementation of courses, mean and workshop, enter data into D teams. D teams means that digital technology information management system. I'm also enter the documents and informations into DDMS. DDMS means stand for Digital Document Management System, and we manage provisions of logistic and ICT for each course, and many more. You can read it. And also, I have random tasks that are not stated in industrial training student memo. So, for example, like as you can see here, I attended the Intan monthly assembly. I have been a queue master and photographer throughout the ceremony. I'm also got the opportunity to become a moderator for the webinar on Tanya Muncul Muda Jawab. It is a government official document writing course. We conduct the course by using Zoom platform and also live on Facebook. We have created a highest record for the participant, which is more than 700 participants and 3,000 views on Facebook. So next, I'm also went to the Selangor State Secretary meet with Datuk Borhan and also Dr. Zairi to discuss about the funding that we can get from them to conduct the public service data. This is also one of the effort from Malay Language Excellency Unit in order to empower the use of Malay language, especially among civil servants. Next is I went to the Perbadanan Pembangunan Kampung Baru for the government official document writing course. Same goes with IDFR. I went to the Institute of Diplomacy and Foreign Relations. They invite us to conduct the same course under the diploma and the diplomacy course. Not just about train the civil servants, but also we conduct the 8 missions around Petaling Jaya during Ramadan. We're giving some necessity to single mothers who live alone in their respective apartments. Then I'm also attended to the meeting to the Kerangka Fokus Utama Perkhidmatan Awam KFUPA. This is the meeting to discuss about the new framework that have been established by the Ketua Pengarah Perkhidmatan Awam KPPA. All of the participants that you see here are the directors from all ministry, departments and agencies. So next, I went to the Institut Tabiran Awam Negara Wilayah Timur, or we pronounce it as INTIM, at Kemaman Terengganu. We're giving a course towards the DPA cadets that will be diplomatic officer one day. Then we went to Melaka to teach Ustaz and Ustazah from Islamic Religious Department, Jawi, for the report writing course. After that, we went to Putrajaya at Jabatan Kehakiman Syariah Malaysia, JKSM, to conduct Munshin Muda Bahasa development course. If you can see here, all of the participants are chief judge, attorney, and also lawyers. And for the last 2 weeks, I'm not stated on the slide, we conduct the same course at the Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi for all the teachers and officers there. And last week I went to Sabah to be the only one representative for Intan to monitor and manage the Munshi Muda Bahasa course at the Jabatan Hal Ehwal Agama Islam Negeri Sabah. So, finish with the duties and tasks for students. Now, what are the courses at the university that contribute to the implementations of the industrial training here? So, there are some things that have been taught while at the university for me to apply while undergoing industrial training in this organization. So, firstly, since I deal a lot with certain parties in reaching a consensus in terms of negotiations of a cause, I have applied the concept of speech accommodation. This speech accommodation can be divided into two, namely convergent speech and divergent speech. Convergent speech is when we want to reduce our distance with others so that we can establish a close relationship as soon as we get a sign of mutual agreement on something. Divergent speech is when we want to increase the gap between us and other parties. For example, when I want to explain to participants that the reasons they fail to attend a course. Secondly, I had applied the concept of critical thinking, where it explains how the appropriate step I take one by one to solve all the problem that I face. So the following is a diagram of critical thinking skills. You can read that. So finally, I have find two theories that I think is relevant that I can apply during my industrial training. I was first one is the Bloom taxonomy, and also the second one is Edward de Bono theory about the six thinking hacks. The Bloom taxonomy, I was able to use the Bloom taxonomy theory to be introduced while being an assistant facilitator in the Digital Governance Competency and Capability Readiness (DGCCR) course, and several other courses in facilitating the learning process. And also same with the Edward de Bono 6 thinking hacks. This method is very useful to be applied to get the perfect level of learning, since my organization is an institute for training civil servants. So I believe this theory is relevant to use. So last but not least, for the conclusion and suggestions, a little bit different with what I wanted to talk compared to what already have been stated in the slide. So 4 suggestions that I can tell to the university or faculty is the university needs to increase the number of career programs to provide early exposure to students, to student interest before they apply to the specific industrial training organization that they want. The faculty may also update the relevant and fair scoring scheme so that the marking of the awarding of marks is the same and does not depend 100% on the supervisor. This is because each supervisor is different, so there are also supervisors who are generous in giving marks and some are little strict. So this is important in informing truly quality students, especially from the language center. Okay, so next is the suggestions for improvement by the organization to industrial training students, which are in terms of creating more exposure and assignment related to their field. Besides, the organization also needs to be brave in providing opportunities for students to do large tasks, such as the duties of officers or training consultant there. So this is very helpful to build the character of the students and can develop new skills that are useful in the future. So in conclusion, it is clear for us to state that this industrial training is a very important thing for every student in helping them to become a highly credible and competent student in the real world. This industrial training is useful in shaping the character and polishing the potential of the student. This industrial training is also very good in providing an initial overview of the work culture, providing useful experience, and being able to wield new skills and knowledge. So just that from me. Thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice day.